All right, so we're outside the cafe. What is it called? Clary's Cafe. And it's a full moon right there behind.
All right, let's take a walk.
Definitely different levels of ground. I love these trees. Mm-hmm.
This is a great spot for orbs. All around here, this house is terribly haunted. Has a rap sheet a mile long. This house has not seen a moment's peace. If it has, I feel as though it's really just been one moment. You might also notice it's a full moon tonight, or died a most horrific death. There are no exceptions. This house, it
I don't want
just
that address.
eats people up and spits them out. So he goes into her room right here on this top floor, the left window. He puts a pillow over her face and he murders her in cold blood. He makes himself a stiff drink, goes up to this balcony where he proceeds to just say, "Morning, how you doing?" to passersby. Them having no idea he has just snuffed his wife out of 52 years. Well, we don't really know what happens after that. All we do know is that at about 4 o'clock p.m., a very dead Dr. Wilder is found face down right here under the balcony from a fall. He must have died during a fall. Now, that's funny. Some people say, oh, it was a murder-suicide. Well, come on. I mean, I don't know. I think that if you were going to commit suicide, you'd probably jump from somewhere a little higher. My personal thought, and many others in Savannah, is that Mrs. Wilder was a feisty little thing, and she got her revenge sooner rather than later, and she just gave him a swift push just right over the side. Nonetheless, she is actually the one who continues to haunt this house. She is seen pacing back and forth in front of this window, and nobody occupies the house now, but she is seen pacing back and forth in that top window. You know, sometimes when we die a sudden death that we truly are not prepared for, and it's so horrible. And the betrayal she must have known when he was doing that, and she's trying to fight for her life. That I think that she may just have been trapped here. And they had gotten their hands, innocently enough, on some slingshots. And so they got those slingshots. They're so excited, and they go up on the roof. They're going to kill some pigeons, and won't that be fun? Well, almost immediately, they're running around and having a great time. And Richardson says that he turns around to see his best friend completely frozen. And it appears as though he just can't move. Well, he thinks, all right, you know, come on, Tommy, you're being dramatic. Cut it out, dude. Well, he soon and very quickly realized that Tommy was not playing. Whatever was happening with Tommy was something that he could not see. It was something unseen. It was something that had complete control over Tommy. And worse than that, it was pushing him toward the side, this left side. And I want to tell you guys too, everything that we talk about with this house all happens on the left side. Everything. Very strange. Well, Richard says at this point he wants to step forward to steady his friend. But he himself is rendered immobile. He cannot move for the life of him. And he has no choice but to watch as his friend goes plummeting over the side of the roof. Now, you guys see this beautiful fence that they have here, this beautiful wrought iron fence? Well, unfortunately, this is where Tommy would meet his end. That precious baby landed right here on this spike. It impaled him through the nape of his neck, through his brain, and out the top of his skull. It gets worse. His body detaches from his neck and he lands right next to the house. We're going to go over there in a minute and take a look because there's still some evidence of that terrible day. Now, Richard is still alive, and you know, I had a friend of mine, a tour operator, who contacted him and really wanted something that the other tour operators didn't have, you know, some lowdown he could use on his tour. And Richard would not even say the house's name. He would not speak of this house. He said, take it off your tour right now. If you know what's good for you, just take it off your tour. That house is evil, like there is no evil. And he says that he will not bring a fare from his cab. He's a cab driver anywhere near this house, not even close. Now, one tragic part of this story is Richard's sisters are still in this area. And they were interviewed a little while ago about Tommy, and they said that unfortunately they have received dozens, if not hundreds of texts or calls or emails that people continue to see Tommy falling off of this roof. It's so sad because it does happen. You know, those tragic deaths, those horrible, violent deaths like Tommy experienced sometimes will cause this loop to happen. And so the victim gets caught in this horrible spiritual loop of reliving this tragic event over and over again. And that just breaks my heart. Poor little Tommy met his end. I really wanted to propose something to you. So in 1969, when this happened, none of these trees were here, okay? None of these trees are here. When you think about someone falling, you can see this is really a lot further overhang than you realize. Mm-hmm. But think about it. If you fell, where would you land? Where do you think that you would land?
Right about here,
right about where you're standing. That's what I think. And that's also what the police thought too. That he actually came inverted and his body lay down there. That took a lot of force. His body was in motion going this way. So, I don't know. I guess if a hag or a demon or some sort of evil spirit has your body and is propelling you to the ground, anything is possible. In a picture, you'll see that little boy. It'll be just a little apparition peeking from behind the trees. It's the old Candler Hospital, because in 1820, Savannah would see its largest yellow fever outbreak. An ulterior way to bury all those victims, and what they came up with was a very large crypt. You know that fountain that we were just at, that beautiful fountain where so many people get married, the one that's just covered in orbs, so romantic and sweet, our pride and joy? Well, it was put there on purpose. It was put there so that future generations would know exactly where to find all of the yellow fever victims. They did not know at the time that yellow fever was being caused by mosquitoes, and they needed them to know where to find the bodies so that they themselves could maybe come up with what was causing this and a cure. So about 7 feet, 8 feet maybe, underneath that fountain is a crypt that holds 666 bodies. Now, that's what we have recorded. But see, at night, because of the shame, and also because they didn't want to spread mass hysteria, they would bring wagons, they would pull wagons because the entrance to a 300-foot tunnel was right here by the hospital. And what they would do is at night, they would bring that wagon topped full of bodies from yellow fever, and they would carry them all the way down so that nobody knew. You know, so many people. There were only about 3,700 people in Savannah at that time. So you can imagine they probably lost close to maybe 40% of their population. You can look at it and it really does look like an insane asylum, doesn't it? But the thing about it was, is you guys, think about this. Let me just post this. That back in those times, back in a different way of thinking, you know, that if you had Tourette's, if you had autism, if you had anxiety, if you had depression, anything like that, it was just considered madness. All of this, not one body was dug up. That all of this, where you're right now, this is, you know, Miss Thompson, and they're all just right here underneath you. It's an old slave hanging tree.
And we made it back to the cafe. So, I'm done with my ghost tour and I'm back. I came to Applebee's and it's literally the cutest little Applebee's in the entire world.